Hey, what's up everybody? So over the last couple of years now, I've been primarily shooting with the DJI Osmo Pocket 1, which for the most part has done a really good job for me. Initially, when I bought this camera, I was primarily looking for something that had basically the 3-axis gimbal stabilization along with 4K capabilities. And again, for the most part, this has done a really good job. However, there have been some moments where I kind of got a little bit frustrated with the Osmo Pocket 1, primarily due to the autofocusing. So if you take a look at some of my sample clips that I'm about to show you right here, you can clearly see where the autofocus system has failed me. So despite using the actual internal window and trying to hit the button to autofocus, it still didn't really quite get the image quality, or rather the focusing that I wanted it to get. And as a result, that kind of frustrated me, because if you're shooting, let's say, and you're out there and about and you want to do, let's say, a selfie, or you're trying to showcase a particular product or a particular scene, for example, and the autofocusing system fails you, you can clearly see why that would be a little bit frustrating. And so as I was doing a little bit of research, I was really debating whether or not I should really upgrade. Like, is it worth paying another $350 to get the Osmo Pocket 2? And so after doing a little bit of research, come to find out that the Osmo Pocket 2 has really upgraded their auto-focusing mechanisms. And so I want to share my perspective on whether or not is it really worth upgrading from the Osmo Pocket 1 to the Osmo Pocket 2. Because granted, despite an improved autofocus mechanism, there are other things that the Osmo Pocket 2 definitely has that the Osmo Pocket 1 doesn't have. So let's go ahead and take a look and break it down to see whether or not you should really upgrade. So let's first just briefly talk about some minor quality of life improvements, okay? So if you remember the DJI Osmo Pocket 1, if you remember this wrist strap, for some stupid reason it attaches to the case, right? So obviously if you're holding this and let's say you're shooting this video outside a car or window or something where you're, let's say, over a cliff or over an overhang, you could definitely risk dropping your Osmo Pocket 1. So obviously the geniuses over at DJI decided, like, you know what? Why would we put the strap on the case? Let's go ahead and put the strap on the actual camera, right? I mean, this is such a minor quality of life improvement, but it obviously makes sense. Put the wrist strap on and you kind of feel like you feel safe, right? In case something happens, someone knocks your elbow or just something, the wind, things happen, right? As a result, quality of life improvement. I really enjoy this wrist strap, and although it is kind of a little minor inconvenience to take on and off all the time, definitely worth having if you plan on shooting somewhere where you're at risk of dropping this camera. One of the key factors of why I was debating on whether or not I should upgrade the Osmo Pocket 1 to the Osmo Pocket 2 is the fact of autofocusing. I shot a lot on my Osmo Pocket 1, and there are times where I got pretty frustrated, right? I'm going on a hike somewhere and I'm trying to, let's say, showcase a trail map or showcase some type of food product, for example. Go home, come to find out, the thing is not in focus. And I'm like, well, that sucks. I can't really review it anymore. I can't really sharpen an image any more than it can already have without having it become too grainy and too noisy. And that's the part that really frustrated me with the Osmo Pocket 1. And I've really had a chance to use the Osmo Pocket 2 now for the last, we'll say, about 2 weeks now since I got it. And I have to say that the autofocusing for the Osmo Pocket 2 is fantastic. I've shot selfies, I've shot images where up close and personal and for the most part it has really gotten down on the focus. I haven't had any real blurry images so far, and as a result, that is one of the key reasons why, if you're looking for something to improve on autofocus, if you're the type of person who gets frustrated because the autofocusing system didn't work, that is one major key difference on why you should definitely upgrade to the Osmo Pocket 2. And just one other thing I want to mention is that whenever I shoot with the Osmo Pocket, whether it's the Osmo Pocket 1 or the Osmo Pocket 2, I don't really like to attach my phone to the system. I mean, granted, you have this little dongle here, right, that you can connect to either your iPhone or your Android device, either a USB-C or the lightning cable. I just don't really like having to hold a selfie stick with the camera along with my cell phone to kind of basically navigate the system, because sometimes it's just nice when you're out and about. Let's say you're going on a quick hike, you're doing something where you don't really want to create a whole messy system. And so it's really nice to just be able to hold the camera and let the thing do its thing. You push one little button, hit record, you're done, right? Again, quality of life feature that I really, really enjoy. So a couple of other key differences between the Osmo Pocket 1 and the Osmo Pocket 2 is the fact that the 2 right here has a larger sensor size. So what does that mean for you is that you get an overall better image for your photos, your video, as well as your nighttime video or photos. And if you take a look at my example here where I'm shooting a video in and out, you can clearly see the difference between the Osmo Pocket 1 and the Osmo Pocket 2 in terms of actual lighting and as actual being able to capture the image. And one thing again I want to mention, I'm going to mention this a lot, is that you can clearly see that the Osmo Pocket 1 failed to really focus on the image versus where the Osmo Pocket 2, I didn't really have to do anything, I didn't really have to touch anything, hit the record button and it pretty much autofocused on itself, creating a nice, pretty much good clear quality image of this awesome hamburger. So I want to talk about the mini control stick. So when you buy the Osmo Pocket 2, it automatically comes with this awesome mini control stick device. And at first I thought it was kind of a gimmick, but realistically I use this thing pretty much religiously. So with the Osmo Pocket 1, for example, the only way you could really control the camera is if you attach it to your cell phone. However, it can get a little bit clunky. You have to buy, let's say, an external device that holds your camera, your cell phone, as well as most likely a tripod stick, right? Otherwise it's going to be really hard to really fumble everything together. And the nice thing about using the stick is that it creates basically, like since I've been using it, it allows you to really create a smooth transition. Let's say if you're shooting from left to right or up to down. And another nice thing that I noticed is that this actually also has a zoom function. So you can easily zoom in, zoom out on an image without really looking like you're shaking the camera. And the nice thing about this is that you can't actually buy the mini control stick and use it on the Osmo Pocket 1. Granted, your limitations, or rather your functional limitations, can be limited because with the control stick, you can only pretty much control the camera, whether left, right, up, down, diagonal, but you can't really create any zoom function, and you can't really change the speed for when it pans left or right or up and down. So if you want to go ahead and just say, you know what, I want to get that mini control stick and use it for my Osmo Pocket 1, definitely an option, but you're limited in your overall functionality. And if you do want to purchase this control stick, it costs about $30, give or take, so depending on where you get it from. But definitely love using the control stick for the Osmo Pocket 2. Last but not least, I kind of want to mention, I know there's a lot of other features that the Osmo Pocket 2 comes with, like improved story mode, improved auto tracking, 3.0 system, but honestly for me, I don't really use those that often. But let's talk a little bit about what's called the DJI Matrix audio system, right? Or DJI Matrix Stereo. And honestly, it's just a fancy word for improved microphone hardware. So with the Osmo Pocket 1, you have essentially two microphones. You have one that's facing towards you if you're shooting this way, and you have one on the bottom panel where the charger is or where the connector is. With the Osmo Pocket 2, you actually have four microphones. So obviously with more microphones, it allows for better enhanced, essentially audio receiving quality, right? So you have two on the sides, one, I guess the one that's facing towards you, as well as one in the back, or one that's facing on the other side of the device. And I did try and test out both of them, and you could go ahead and clearly see, or listen rather, here, and see whether or not you really notice the difference. And I created a scenario where essentially I have it where I'm holding it from a selfie mode, and one where I'm using a selfie stick, for example, and the other scenario is where we are, or rather me, is wearing a face mask, and see whether or not you can really hear a difference between the Osmo Pocket 1's audio quality versus the Osmo Pocket 2's audio quality. And let me know. I'm not really an audiophile, so I can't really tell the difference. But in my opinion, I felt like it sounded pretty good on both of them. A slight minor distortion, or rather like rough sounding on the Osmo Pocket 1 versus Osmo Pocket 2, but again, let me know. I can't really tell the difference, so I can't really say which one is better either way, but I assume 4 microphones versus 2 microphones. I tried to do that. Anyways, 4 is better than 2, right? So I'm gonna assume that having 4 microphones is better than 2. Alright, so here we are testing the DJI Osmo Pocket 1 sound check. So here we are testing the DJI Osmo Pocket 2 at a selfie length. Alright, so here we are testing it with the selfie stick. Give or take, the length is about 2 feet. Alright, here we are testing the DJI Osmo Pocket 2's internal microphone. Alright, so here we are testing the DJI Osmo Pocket 1's internal microphone wearing an actual face mask. Let's see if you can hear me okay. So right now I'm using the Osmo Pocket 2's internal microphone camera. Alright, so here we are now using a selfie stick, so give or take about 2 feet in distance length. Alright, here we are testing the DJI Osmo Pocket 2's microphone with selfie stick. So after really listening to the differences between the Osmo Pocket 1 and the Osmo Pocket 2, you can definitely hear a significant difference between the two. With the Osmo Pocket 2, the sound is a lot more crisper, a lot more cleaner, and there's less distortion. So generally speaking, I like to use an external microphone whenever I'm recording a video, but due to the fact that the Osmo Pocket 2's internal microphone is actually really good. So I would feel really comfortable if I didn't have my external microphone with me and I was just simply recording a quick selfie, for example, or doing a quick video without an external microphone in play. Alright, so now that we've kind of talked about some of the differences of the Osmo Pocket 1 and the Osmo Pocket 2, let's actually go ahead and look at some sample footages of my trip that I went to just this past weekend over at Portland, Oregon, where I went to go and visit Crater Lake. So I basically shot this in 4K at 30 frames per second, 4K 30 frames per second, and I really want to test the difference whether or not the quality is better. And so I did some other things such as shooting in slow motion. Oh, that's one other thing I want to mention is that with the Osmo Pocket 1, you have a slow motion rate of 4x, or I guess 4, I don't know how to really describe that, but you have a 4x slow motion speed, where with the Osmo Pocket 2, you have a slow motion rate speed of at least 4x as well as 8x. So 8x is a lot slower it's a lot slower in terms of slow motion rate. So we're gonna go ahead and see some of those differences right now. So if you go ahead and take a look at some of the shots and videos that I've taken over at Crater Lake, you can just clearly see how much more vibrant the Osmo Pocket 2 is compared to the Osmo Pocket 1. No settings have been changed or modified, and everything is as shot or as filmed. And by the way, I just want to add, if you guys have never been to Crater Lake before, which is located in Oregon, you guys should definitely go ahead and take a look, considering the fact that COVID is pretty much over now and national parks are open. So with the Osmo Pocket 2, it has a new feature of slow motion at 8x rate. And again, both cameras shoot at 1080p, but if you look at the left side versus the right side, the Osmo Pocket 1 generally looks a little bit more grainier, as opposed to the Osmo Pocket 2 looks a lot more livelier, more vibrant. And again, with the larger sensor size, it is basically able to capture a lot more of the image and video that you're shooting. Alright, so the question on whether or not you should really upgrade, is it really worth paying the $350 again if you already have the Osmo Pocket 1? And I know we talked a lot about image quality, we talked a lot about the autofocusing, the stereo, as well as the little minor quality of life improvements. And honestly, I have to say that yes, the upgrade is definitely worth it. And for me, when I first bought the Osmo Pocket 1, I bought it at full price at $350, similar to the same price you're gonna pay if you get the Osmo Pocket 2. So I would highly recommend, just due to the fact that this has been out for about a year and a half now. It's about June right now, and so I'd say wait for a sale. If let's say DJI is coming out with the Osmo Pocket 3, for example, I mean, maybe you want to get that, but wait for a sale and see if you can get the DJI Osmo Pocket 2 for a little bit under, let's say, $300 if you're lucky. And regarding image quality, right? So we talked a lot about autofocusing. You could clearly see in the sample videos that I had taken between Osmo Pocket 1 and Osmo Pocket 2. Remember, everything is shot in 4K at 30 frames per second. You can clearly see how much more vibrant and how much more dynamic the range is and the quality is for the Osmo Pocket 2 versus the Osmo Pocket 1. Again, I haven't done any post-production whatsoever. Everything is just basically shot as is. But you can clearly see how much better the Osmo Pocket 2 is, and that's something definitely worth considering, especially for those of you who don't want to work on constantly post-producing your videos or your images. And remember, the audio quality is much improved with the Osmo Pocket 2 versus the Osmo Pocket 1. Remember, you have 4 microphones here versus the 2 microphones. Audio is a lot more cleaner, a lot crisper, and you just get a general better overall audio quality even without using an external microphone. So again, the question, should you upgrade? Depending on it honestly depends on how serious you are. Like for me, it was something that it's kind of a hobby that turned into more of like, this is a really fun hobby. And it's something that I want to get better on. I want to improve upon as far as my directing, my photography skills, and my videography skills. It gives us a little bit of a creative outlet. And for those of you who are really serious into wanting to produce better quality content for your video or your channel, I would highly recommend considering the Osmo Pocket 2 just due to the fact that it's a pretty high quality producing video camera. Again, it's got 4K that can shoot up to 60 frames per second, up to 30 frames per second. It's got that high dynamic range capability in terms of video and photography. Great audio content. Overall, the 3-axis stabilization, the autofocusing, and everything else that comes in this package is actually something definitely worth considering the price point of $350. So anyways guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I really hope you guys enjoyed my review. Actually, it's my first time doing a review for a product, and hopefully I did a good job. And anyways, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.